So that's what I do on a day job, help mentor companies. And at night, I work for a company I started about a year ago called The Big Plate. It's a focus on startups and entrepreneurs, and we hold different events basically on a weekly basis. Some of them are educational, some of them are networking. We interview founders, we post that information on the blog, and just try to create a community of startups and entrepreneurs, ask you questions, and get your seat at the table. So that's what we do there. The other thing that we're doing with regard to NuTech, we're actually starting a new startup accelerator program. We'll officially launch probably next week. You'll hear more about it, but it's similar to TechStars or Y Combinator. You might have heard about those types of programs. But the idea is to help generate some new startups here in Lincoln. Teams can apply. We're going to take no more than 6 to 10 teams for the summer. And over a 12-week period, we'll get you connected with mentors and resources and people, and we get to build your business. We'll give you $15,000 in seed capital in exchange for about 6% equity stake, and help you get immersed into the community, help accelerate what normally takes a 2 or 3 year period, and try to do that in a 12-week period. So look forward to hearing more about that soon. And
okay, thank you.
I'm John Fulwider. I'm a business coach for not-for-profit organizations. I have my own firm, the creatively titled John Fulwider Coaching, Speaking, Consulting, which gets the personal brand in there. It says exactly what I do in the order that I prefer to do it. I came up with that all by myself. So feel really proud about it. So what is business coaching for not-for-profits? I'm kind of like the personal trainer for your mission. If you have a goal to make transformative social impact for the people you serve, and you know that left to your own devices, you're not going to kind of get to working on the mission on a consistent basis, I'm the guy who will come alongside you and make sure that you do the work. I'll also multiply your thinking efforts, sort of kind of focus you when you're tempted to go off on rabbit trails, mission creep, see the bright shiny objects, and go ooh squirrel. I'll keep you focused back there, and I'll get you to social impact faster than you would have been able to get there on your own. I'll also, I'm a recovering academic, and I've read way too many books to the point where at age 36 I already need bifocals, which is really sad. Okay, but so since I've read all those books already, I'll summarize them for you in a way that is directly applicable. I'm like a walking FootNotes version for you. I'll tell you only what you need to know right now, get you to the stage where you need to know more, tell you more about that, and then get you to the next stage. I love being at Fuse Co-working. I just sing its praises because I solopreneured it for like 7 long years of working in coffee shops and at home, being way too close to my refrigerator, being way too close to the dishes that needed cleaned. So I'm just all sorts of enthusiastic about Fuse, and I would encourage you guys to come out and try it for yourself if you need kind of a space where you can just get creative work done and absorb the energy around you to make big differences in your productivity and your creativity. Questions?
Because he does have to leave, so any nonprofit?
I'd love to answer your questions. But yeah, please.
Have you ever worked with an actress that you know?
No, I haven't. Although I'm friends with them on Facebook. I follow them. I haven't worked with them yet. My sort of overlap with the startup community is that I'm just friends with a lot of startup entrepreneurs, like the people in this room, and I'm interested in eventually making connection with somebody who is pursuing social entrepreneurship broadly, where you have some sort of social impact goal alongside your profit motive, or maybe you're trying to think, is the way to create the value for the people I want to create it for, is the right method to access the capital market you can access by being a C3, or is it the right way to access the capital market you can access by being, an LLC or a corporation?
It might be beneficial for that group to meet with you, because they do have small businesses that they own on campus that fund all their philanthropy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You want to make the introduction? Bring them over here. We're all good with them.
And actually, he did meet the president because you were one of the judges on Saturday night that Hive and CEO, the Lisa Mom project. He, remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. And so he spent a Saturday night just for students, listening to their pitches and helping us out with that. So,
and I enjoyed the heck out of it.
There you go.
That was a lot of fun.
Yes. So.
Any other questions? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much, John.
My name is Wendy Bantam. I am a exhibiting artist and lecturer, and I've been self-employed for 47 years doing in the arts. So all of my entrepreneurial work is in the arts. I work with public schools all across the state of Nebraska, internationally and nationally. I work with the Kennedy Center and the Lead Center, bringing creative projects to public schools and the completely annihilated arts programs. And I also work with, filmmakers, painters, sculptors, helping them create business. And then we take what we've done, because we've all left the galleries, and donate a portion of all of the proceeds of our sales to nonprofit organizations. So that's what I do. Do you have any questions?
This is her art.
I was going to say.
Hanging throughout the space.
And this space will be is up for being a curated space. So I just met with the University Foundation and the Art and Artistry Department, and creating an award for upcoming students that are just about to graduate, either MFA or their undergrad, and giving them an opportunity to actually have a show away from the university and not in a gallery. So.
Are any of you in the arts in this class? You have friends that are?
Thanks.
And I was just telling her that our entrepreneuring at UNL in March, one of the days is really all about the arts and the entrepreneurship part of that. So we're starting to team up with the art schools and helping them out that way. So
there's a lot I could talk to you about with that, but the arts are an integral part of having a really vibrant community. So we have First Fridays up here starting in April. So have any of you been to First Friday in Lincoln?
If you go to a First Friday, that could be one of your external activities.
Well, they're throughout the whole city. We plan on hosting them on occasion up here at Fuse. Should be a really great time. In the evenings on the first Friday of every month. So I'm going to sit back too.
Okay, thank you so much for...
Here's some cards here if anyone...
If you leave them there, I'll make sure they get passed out.
Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Ben Pankonin, and I'm the founder of Social Assurance. I wear it on my shirt so that I can remember. We help banks and brokerages to find new customers using social media platforms. And we have a software platform of our own that they log into, and they're able to post on the various different platforms. We also have listening agents that allow them to see what's happening and how to connect with new customers. So that's our focus. Actually, the office kind of catty corner here. We have a few people that work with me over in the Nebraska global space, and there are a lot of startups on this corner. There are 7 Nebraska global companies. There are 3 of us that office inside of Nebraska Global. Huddle happens to be on the 2nd floor of that building. There are another 6-7 different companies that are officed here in this space at Fuse. I'm really excited about Fuse and what they can help bring to early stage startups. And there's a couple different reasons for that. One is that it creates a density of startups in a very localized area. So having a lot of startups right here in the Haymarket is hugely beneficial for those of us who are doing it. And it creates an element of community that's really exciting. But more than that, the community practically lived out is a really interesting thing when you're building a startup. One is that we're very volatile people. And so if you meet an entrepreneur who's trying to scale a business to a lot of customers, they're trying all sorts of crazy tactics. And there's a lot of things that they don't know about that they need to go reach out to another startup for. For one, in our startup, we're not great at design. We have some really smart people that can code like nobody's business, but when we hit some design challenges, we say, gosh, Photoshop would be really nice if we were better at that. So we need to reach out to other people close to us. Additionally, we get really close to our own messaging, and we forget how bad we are at speaking about our own business. So when I talked about things like compliance, FIDC guidelines, FDIC guidelines, things like that, most people kind of glaze over and want to take a nap. And we don't realize that because you're so close and so integrated into what you're doing. So a couple weeks ago, I had to do a pitch contest in Kansas City. And so I came over to Fuse and met up with 4 or 5 people over here to kind of give a practice pitch. And they told me, Ben, you're really boring. I don't register with these words you're saying. And by the way, some of your slides don't work for you. It's great feedback for me, but when every day you're working with the same types of customers, you don't get that kind of feedback. So it's really nice to have some community that can help challenge you in those ways. And so I'm really excited about what they're offering here at Fuse and really the density that Lincoln's creating because I think it benefits all of us in a lot of good ways. So, any questions about that or what we're doing? Any of you guys do social media for anybody other than yourself? Okay, great. Do you work for a company doing social media?
I'm doing it for a nonprofit.
For a nonprofit? For your dad's company? Awesome. Awesome.
Any tips?
Any tips for social media?
On social media?
Yeah, a lot of them. One of the biggest factors that we look at, so we actually download social media data for about 3,000 or 4,000 different banks and financial institutions, and then we compare them. And one of the things that we see most commonly that is unsuccessful for them is just not being regular about the way that they post. And we'll see that, it looks like this month they made 25 posts, and then the next month they made 10. So one of the biggest things for them is just being able to schedule out on a calendar and making sure that they post very regularly. That becomes very effective. But I think a lot of social media managers stop there. So once they've gotten that process down and they've said, okay, we're going to post every month, every, whatever, I would say most of them stop there and they forget that they can actually reach out and build engagements. So even just reaching out and liking other companies on Facebook, reaching out and asking questions and starting to engage in that dialogue, and doing that over a number of different platforms. I'm actually doing a lot of stuff this week on Google Plus and Yelp, 2 technologies that I wouldn't see as very common for banks, but I had a bank in New Mexico that said, hey, we've got some negative comments on a Google review. Can you help us out? What does it take? And so I think not ignoring those other channels and really addressing them all as a different culture, saying, the people who are on Google Plus, they're a different culture than the people who are on Facebook and the people who are on Twitter or any of those other technologies. Making sure that you're addressing those is a really valuable piece. Other questions?
Ben was another one that spent his Saturday night date night with his wife,
Yes,
judging pitches of our students. So he's committed a lot of time to helping with our projects and things at the university. So
it was actually really engaging. Anybody here that was there on Saturday?
I'm thinking this.
It was a great day of listening to pitches, and it's different as